Hello guys, and this is going to be a very interesting conversation because we live in the truly historic times. We witness one of the biggest political and diplomatic scandals of the 21st century. Bloomberg published leaked conversation between the Russian so-called diplomats and real war criminals, seasoned FSB officers and spies like Ushakov and Dmitriev, and the so-called US envoy Witkoff, who openly advised them how to trick not just the EU allies, not just the Republicans in the United States, but Donald Trump himself. Witkoff advised Ushakov and Dmitriev how to, stop Trump from sanctioning Russia, how to push this composed in Russia peace proposal, now it is proved, and how to prevent the meeting between the US president and the president of Ukraine. This plan failed. The conversations are published in Bloomberg, and 20 years ago, this would be a huge scandal and perhaps a great change in the course of negotiations and US foreign policy, because we clearly see the traitors. And here I want to thank people of the United States who openly demonstrate they stand with Ukraine even if they support Trump. I was very excited to learn that 76% of Trump supporters do not support Putin and support Ukraine in this war and allies. And even if we put aside this long-term friendship, shared values, and simply focus on, this business, economic things, remember, Russia is collapsing. They have an empty budget and their GDP is smaller than the one of Italy or the one of Texas. Then why on earth do you want to sacrifice the EU market, the investment and defense potential of Ukraine for the sake of businesses with the Kremlin dictator and his bloody mafia friends who will trick you? So I'm really happy that this conversation leaked, and now analyzing it, we can not only see the problems inside the White House, but actually we can identify the weakest points inside Russia, the most painful things for them that we must keep pressuring, because that peace proposal was meant to save Russia from its inevitable collapse. But God helped us. So let's discuss that conversations, what it means for the future of the negotiations, and most importantly, where do we have to continue sanctioning Russia? My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin in The Hague, subscribe. I'm sure we will see that sometime really soon. And please share these videos to spread the truth. That's important. Once again, so many people, so many politicians, including J.D. Vance, now are trying to pretend nothing happened. And it's just a normal process when the US envoy calls directly Russian spies and advises them how to prevent the meeting between the Ukrainian and the US presidents to stop tomahawks from being sent to Ukraine, but even prevent sanctioning of Russia. For the sake of what? Trust me, any cooperation between the United States and Russia is not profitable. It's not worth sacrificing your long-term friendship with at least the largest market, the European Union. So on these conversations, first, we clearly see that this so-called peace proposal, all of its 28 points were composed in Moscow. Yesterday or a couple of days ago, actually, I've read a wonderful article in The Guardian. Luke Harding is one of the authors that I respect greatly. And by the way, I had an honor of interviewing him in the project Big Russian Lies. You may find a list with these videos on the channel. But he analyzed this text of the so-called American peace proposal, and it turned out to be written in Russian previously, because you can actually analyze with the help of automatic machine translation systems, with the help of artificial intelligence. You can actually identify what was the first text language on which it was written. Plus, there were lots and lots and lots of Russian typical phrasings in it. So that was a hypothesis. And now we clearly see Russia composed that plan, and then Witkoff advised them how to push this plan, how to bring it into the White House and to keep tricking the world and the people of the United States too, that this was designed in the United States. It was so bad that it was totally unbelievable. And that's why, once again, thank you, good people who started opposing it. Not just in Ukraine, not just in Europe, but also in the United States. 76% of the Republicans support Ukraine in this war, not Russia. This is deadly for J.D. Vance, who wanted to persuade the world that this was an American plan. I wonder how will he react now? And I know he will keep pretending nothing happened. 20, 50 years ago, this would lead to serious consequences, to resignations of people, to investigation, maybe even to imprisonment. But now we live in a very dangerous period of this post-truth or something even worse. I have a question to you. Please let me know in the comments below. How do you think who leaked these conversations to Bloomberg? Was it the US intelligence? Many believe. Maybe even Rubio, who obviously does not feel that optimistic about Putin. Maybe this was Russian intelligence. There is a version like that, that they failed to pressure Ukraine to capitulate. Now that EU offered its own vision of, a new plan, they decided to open this information to discredit Trump, to discredit any other diplomatic format for the end of this war, any kind of negotiations, and to undermine in general this Western world that is full of traitors as they keep pushing here on occupied territories. Remember that, because we often speak about Russian propaganda working against your societies, but don't forget they are doing it here in Poland, in Moldova, in Romania, trying to demonstrate that chaos, irresponsibility, indifference of the so-called rotting West. So we have to be very honest with each other. We have to remember what unites us, and trust me, Russia is not a party you can trust. So, and there is a version that it was Ukrainian or EU intelligence, maybe British, maybe Polish. Let me know, what do you think? Who is that good hero who shared this information and now it exposed the traitor, or I'm worried the traitors? So this Russian text, this Russian 28 points were sent to the White House, and then Trump didn't care enough, or it's just the way he wants to support Putin. They wanted to make us all believe that this was the US offer. They wanted to make Ukrainians, to make EU partners believe that that's what the American people stand for. And once again, thank God it did not work out. So in that conversations, we clearly see how Ushakov and Dmitriev trick Witkoff too. So personally, I think that Witkoff is not an agent. He's just an ignorant, primitive person with no knowledge of politics, history, Russia. Super excited that he can earn some bloody money in private business enterprises with Putin and his criminal gang. So Ushakov, which is a long-term Russia's diplomat and advisor to Putin, he said that they decided not to participate in the Russian-Arabic meeting because they see that the United States is very influential there. And Witkoff kept thanking him for such cooperation, when in reality it's the Arab states that did not invite Russia because of constant Russian failures, and because they also want to remain friendly, at least cooperative, with the US and EU. So Arabs did not invite Russians, and Russians sold the idea to Witkoff that they didn't go there because they respect Trump. No, it's BS. They are playing with you. Just imagine how they mocked the United States, how they mocked Ukraine, how they mocked NATO when they were designing this plan in Moscow. Once again, this is a scandal of a century. And what are Trump's comments? I don't see anything bad. No, it's not about negotiations. It's about your envoy providing advice to the enemies of the Western world on how to trick all of us, how to betray your long-term friends, your long-term allies for the sake of what? What can you get from Russia, honestly, when they have to print more and more money to hide this 6 trillion rubles hole in their budget, and more to come? So I do agree that right now there are two groups perhaps inside the White House, one pro-Ukrainian, another pro-Russian. And that pro-Ukrainian is actually pro-European and pro-American, to tell you the truth. Because once again, Russia is not the friend for the United States. They keep mocking Western values. They keep using various technologies to undermine your security, your traditions, and so on. So, unfortunately, as one Ukrainian commentator on YouTube says, it seems like this pro-Russian group in the White House is under this supervision of Trump. So, like, Trump is the leader of the pro-Russian group, and I don't know who may be the leader of the pro-Ukrainian group. But what is more important, that the majority of Americans are with Ukraine, even those who support Trump's policy in different areas. And I'm very grateful for that, because this is what prevents them from pushing Ukraine to capitulate. This is what exposes these lies that are, by the way, very dangerous, because such Witkoff can sell out not only Ukraine, can sell out your interests too. And sacrificing Ukraine, praising Russia with new territories. And by the way, it's an interesting observation of the EU leaders. In that list, there were literally no concessions from the Russian side. And Trump says, well, Russia will simply stop fighting. Stop seeing Russia as a strong party. They failed the blitzkrieg and triggered the collapse of their own federation. Do not measure Russia by old Cold War Soviet crap myths. They cannot protect their borders, they do not control their airspace, they don't have money left, and we destroyed 40% of their oil refining industry without your permission to use long-range missiles, simply using our inexpensive drones. So, trust me, Russia can and will be defeated, and it is just great that these lies, that these manipulations were exposed. And of course, I demand the change of Witkoff in any kind of future negotiations. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And we have a sale, because the Black Friday is coming, Thanksgiving is coming, the season of holidays begins, and we want more ambassadors of Ukraine in different corners of the world. And our t-shirts, cups, pillows, hoodies, stickers work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and we need your support. And you see that this support works, because Americans did not believe that is an American offer. Journalists worked hard to find the truth. Someone leaked these conversations. Now we have them published. Now everybody knows we cannot support this plan, because it was directly designed by an aggressor that must be punished, justice must be served, and we must have a really good live stream from The Hague. And before that, we can plan one on Saturday. Let me know what are your plans for 9 p.m. Kyiv. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Remember to subscribe to Anna Danilchuk channel with longer daily conversations. Follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. The links you will find in the description of the video, same as the link to the merch shop. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!